I want to play another scene, and this is a kind of famous scene from the Will Ferrell comedy Elf. And again, this is another scene that's about your size. And it's a scene at a kind of business meeting. You're an author. You're at the publishing house, and there's a bunch of people sitting around the table. One of them is Will Ferrell's father. In the middle of the meeting, Will Ferrell walks in.
James Caan.
Yes. And in the middle of the meeting, Will Ferrell walks in, sees you sitting at the table, and assumes you're an elf.
Right.
I didn't know you had elves working here.
Boy, you're hilarious, my friend.
He doesn't. Get back to the story, please.
So, on the cover above the title.
Does Santa know that you left the workshop?
You know, we're all laughing our heads off.
Did you have to borrow a reindeer to get down here?
Buddy, go back to the basement.
Hey, Jackweed, I get more action in a week than you've had your entire life. I've got houses in LA, Paris, and Vail.
Oh.
Each one of them with a 70-inch plasma screen. So I suggest you wipe that stupid smile off your face before I come over there and smack it off. You feeling strong, my friend? Call me Elf one more time.
He's an angry elf.
And that's a little scuffle as you beat up Will Ferrell.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to beat up Will Ferrell.
I mean, that's a funny scene, and it's a scene, and you have a
Right.
couple of scenes like this in movies where you play the dwarf who's really annoyed at all the stereotypes and really annoyed at how people see him, and you're really funny about it.
Yeah, well, thanks. I mean, I like that stuff because it kind of turns it on its head. I love comedy, and I really do have a sense of humor about myself, or I try to, at least on good days, and obviously with that, a sense of humor about my size. And movies like Elf and Living in Oblivion do as well. And if it's like that, then I really have no issue with it at all. I find it to be fun to be a part of, and I love turning things on their head and flipping them around like that, which is what these movies do. And Will Ferrell, I think, is a comic genius. So,
Well, you mentioned Living in Oblivion, and that's an independent film that Steve Buscemi starred in as a director.
right, a film within a film. Yeah,
Yeah, and there's a great
that was
scene.
actually the first. I got really lucky. That was my first film that I was ever in, and
Oh, really?
I was actually spoiled. I thought they would all be as good as that, and they aren't. But you're lucky to be a part of something like that.
Should we play your scene from this film?
Sure, if you want.
Okay, so this is Living in
God, I
Oblivion,
feel going down memory lane. here.
Memory Lane, and Steve Buscemi plays an independent film director, not a very good one, and this is like his big dream, surreal dream sequence, and Catherine
Right.
Keener is the actress in the sequence,
Right.
and then there's like lots of smoke, and then
Yeah.
and then you walk in.
And a powder blue tuxedo I'm wearing.
Yes, you walk in a powder blue tuxedo, and
Bad prom date.
yeah, and you really hate the scene, and you let Steve Buscemi know it, and here's what
Right.
he has to say.
Look, Tito, it's not that big of a deal. It's a dream. Strange things happen in a dream. All I want you to do is laugh. Why is that such a problem for you?
Why does it have to be a dwarf?
What?
Why does my character have to be a dwarf?
It doesn't have to be a dwarf.
Then why is he? Is that the only way you can make this a dream? Put a dwarf in it?
No, Tito.
Have you ever had a dream with a dwarf in it? Do you know anyone who's had a dream with a dwarf in it? No! I don't even have dreams with dwarves in them. The only place I've seen dwarves in dreams is in stupid movies like this. Oh, make it weird. Put a dwarf in it. Everyone will go, whoa, whoa, whoa. It must be a dream. There's a dwarf in it. Well, I'm sick of it. You can take this dream sequence and shove it up your
That's
Angry.
That's
God,
Steve,
I'm
Steve
so-
Buscemi and my guest Peter Dinklage in a scene from Living in Oblivion. That's a very funny scene, and I'm wondering.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, please.
No, you.
I hadn't heard that in a very long time. But there's also this weird thing like about anger, about angry dwarves. People always think like dwarves are very angry people, and I also just like that about that scene because I'm actually angry. Yeah, it's another stereotype, I guess. Although, sometimes I get mad.
Whenever I hear that scene, I think of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I mean, God, that's what I was afraid of because I love David Lynch so much, and the stuff Michael Anderson did in Twin Peaks, the backward talking and the dancing. But yeah, you can't help but make a comparison between those two. I it's not really it's more just frustration about if you need an image to be weird, put somebody in it like a dwarf or something.
Your first film was Living in Oblivion, which we heard a scene
Mm-hmm.
from. So, what was the audition like for your role? Because you played a dwarf who's cast in this surreal dream scene. So, what was the casting call like for that?
I read for Tom DiCillo, the
Did he know
writer,
you
director.
already?
No, actually, the funny story is I was working in an office job at the time, and he called me. Tom DiCillo did personally to invite me to come and read, and I thought it was. He called me at this office. I was in a cubicle, miserable, working a temp job, and I answered the phone, and he introduced himself, and I laughed, and I was like, "Yeah, come on, man, don't bother me at work." And I hung up on him, thinking it was a friend of mine, because friends we have a tendency to mess with each other's heads. And as soon as I hung up on him, I kind of froze. My hand was frozen to the phone, and I was thinking that didn't really sound like anybody I know. But thank God he called back, and I apologized to him, and I got the role. So it worked out well.
Lucky he called back.
It's not really a funny story, Terry. I'm sorry.
It could have been a tragic story.
It
Your
could have
whole
been a
career
tragic
could have
story.
been blown.
Jeez, based on that
anecdote.
one, I could have probably still been in that cubicle today.
So, did that movie change your life?
No, not. I don't believe in big breaks. I think it's a myth. I mean, there's roles that you do that really affect a lot of people and lead to other work. But I did that movie, and then I went back to working part-time jobs, and I didn't get another movie after that movie for about 8 months, and that was a brief role in some straight-to-video movie, and no, it was tough going for many years. I wasn't able to really pay the rent as a working actor until I was about 30. So no, all through my 20s, and I made that movie probably when I was about 25. So for about 5 years there, after living in Oblivion, I struggled along and working odd jobs and doing plays with friends downtown and occasionally appearing in some movie, but having one couple scenes in an indie film, doesn't break the bank.
So, no, we heard a couple of scenes in which you play a dwarf who's really angry and sarcastic about the way somebody sees him.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever in real life been that angry and sarcastic person in response to somebody saying something really
Yes.
stupid to you?
Yes. We all have our bad days where our patience is not even doesn't even exist. Yeah, you could catch me on a bad day, and I mean, it was different when I was younger. As a teenager, I was pretty surly, wearing a lot of black and hating the world and all of that it stands for. And it's sort of heightened a little bit if you're 4.5 feet tall. That sort of anger. But yeah, I mean, I still will have bad days where if somebody does a laugh or a point, and I just confront them and sort of just say to them, really, does that really make you a better person or something doing that? But I try not to, because that's just gonna put me in a worse state of mind, and it's not your issue, it's theirs, and I just try to have a sense of humor about who I am. And the older you get, like anybody, you just sort of let that stuff roll off your back.
Well, now, like, say you're at the airport and somebody's staring at you. It's probably because you're in movies, not because of your height.
That's the rationale I use now. They're not looking at me because I'm 4.5 feet tall. They're looking at me because I'm a famous movie star. No, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I want to thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you very much.
Peter Dinklage plays the lead defense attorney in the new film Find Me Guilty.